was a lot of information. Don't worry, you can always go back and review. Plus, here's a great resource provided by the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction that reviews some of the information for you. Using all of your new knowledge about important laws, it's time to play Jeopardy! Did you download the handbook? You'll need it to play Jeopardy! Go ahead and open it up before you move on.
Let's play Jeopardy! What does IDEA stand for? Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, Ideas for Disabled Education Activities, Individuals for a Democratic Educational Association, Income for Disabled Elderly Americans. You are correct. What is an IEP? Individual Employment Plan, Individual Education Progress, Individual Evacuation Plan, Individual Education Plan. You are correct. What are the ages in which students can be covered under IDEA? Birth to death, 2 through 18, 3 through 21, 4 through 30. You are incorrect. What two things must exist in order for a student to qualify for services under IDEA? The student must have a disability and must need special education and related services in order to get an educational benefit from school. The student must have a disability and be able to get educational benefit from school without support. The student must be doing badly in school and complain to the principal. You are correct. What does ADA stand for? American Democratic Association, Americans with Disabilities Act, Accommodations for Disabled Americans, Association for Disabled Americans. You are correct. Are post-secondary institutions or job sites required to follow an IEP? You are correct. What are the requirements in order to be covered under ADA? Anyone whose disability makes them unable to live independently. Anyone with a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. A person with a visible disability. You are correct. Under ADA, who must provide the documentation for an individual's disability? The individual's doctor, the individual's case manager, the individual's previous school. You are correct. Section 504 and 508 are part of what larger act? The Civil Rights Act, the Rehabilitation Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. You are incorrect. To whom do sections 504 and 508 apply? Public school districts, post-secondary institutions, employers, all of these. You are correct. What does Section 508 specifically pertain to? The availability of handrails and wheelchair ramps, the use of accessible electronic and information technology, the option for large print in required reading materials, the use of service animals in public facilities. You are correct. When would public agencies who receive federal financial assistance not have to provide accessibility under Section 508. When it makes other employees uncomfortable, when it would clash with the decorations, when they don't feel like it, when it would cause undue burden. You are correct. At the high school level, the school is responsible for identifying accommodations and services necessary for student achievement. In post-secondary institutions or on the job, who is responsible? The individual's doctor, the school or company, the professor or employer, the individual. You are correct. If an employee or student believes that he or she has been discriminated against, what federal agency can be contacted in order to investigate the case? The Department of Homeland Security, the Office of Civil Rights, OCR, the Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Department of Agriculture. You are correct. True or false? Post-secondary institutions must provide grade reports to parents. You are correct. If an employee or student needs a personal attendant at the post-secondary level or on the job, who must provide this service? The student or employee, the school or employer, the state government, the federal government. You are correct. Thank you for playing.
Great job. Now I want to see you put some of these ideas to use. Using Appendix A of the Opening Doors booklet, answer the following questions. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, requires K-12 schools to provide students with disabilities services based upon their...
Correct. That's right. You selected the correct response.
IEP stands for...
Correct. That's right. You selected the correct response.
When do the services, entitlements, to IDEA end for the school and the student? A, when the student reaches age 21. B, when the requirements for high school graduation are met and the student receives a high school diploma. C, either A or B. D, both A and B.
Correct. That's right. You selected the correct response.
What does post-secondary mean? Any middle or high school, any private university or college, any public university or college, any private or public university or college.
Correct. That's right. You selected the correct response.
ADA stands for...
Correct. That's right. You selected the correct response.
Section 504 ADA states 5 requirements that colleges or universities must meet when serving students with disabilities. In your own words, please state these 5 requirements. See Appendix A. What are your rights?
Thank you. It is important to understand your rights as you start planning for post-secondary education.
While you are a student in high school, what are your 3 responsibilities as a student with a disability?
Thank you. It is important to understand your responsibilities both during and after high school.
Once you turn 18 and or graduate from high school, which of the following are your responsibilities? Select all that are correct. A. Understand your disability and provide current documentation. B. Advocate on your own behalf. C. Contact support disability services personnel at the college or university. D. Notify instructors regarding necessary accommodations. E. Arrange for those support services not available in the post-secondary setting.
Correct. That's right. All of these items are your responsibility once you turn 18 and or graduate from high school.
Which of the following are individual accommodations that a post-secondary institution may provide? Select all that are correct. A. Special needs counseling. B. Assistive technology. C. Easier versions of tests and homework. D. Audio textbooks. E. Note takers, readers, and interpreters.
Incorrect. All but C are correct. Remember that accommodation means ensuring access to programs, services, which post-secondary institutions are required to do, while modification means making changes to programs, services, which they are not required to do.
How many four-year institutions does the University of Wisconsin system have?
Correct. That's right. You selected the correct response.
How many two-year institutions does the University of Wisconsin system have?
Correct. That's right. You selected the correct response.
How many private colleges and universities are in Wisconsin?
Incorrect. The correct response is 21.
How many technical colleges are in Wisconsin?
Correct. That's right. You selected the correct response.
Great work!
You're almost done with Chapter 4, Becoming a Self-Advocate. Before you move on, take a few minutes to reflect on what you have learned during this chapter. And of course, you can return to this chapter at any time if you want to review it again. Keep up the good work. Please complete an end of the chapter survey. Click Next to access it.